Shalom, brethren, brothers and sisters from wherever you're watching us from. Welcome to this week's episode. I hope you're well and you're doing well. I am super excited to have you here again. Thank you for those who have subscribed, those who have shared this vlog, those who have given us their feedback. Thank you so much. May the Lord continue blessing you. Now, last week we were able to look at chapter 19. And it was about Sodom and Gomorrah destroyed. And we looked at a few things actually that pointed us into our normal lives. And we were asking ourselves the questions around, is it possible for us actually in a crooked generation to live a righteous life? And truly we saw that it was possible. And we were drawing it from an example of Lot, the wife, and his two daughters who were still virgins, but they were living in a very wicked city whereby those people even wanted to sleep with other men. But anyway, that was for last week. This week we take some time and embark on chapter 20 of Genesis, and my Bible has given it a subtopic, Abraham and Abimelek. And the Bible records, now Abraham moved on from there into the region of Negev and lived between Kadesh and Shur. For a while he stayed in Gerar, and Abraham said to his wife Sarah, she's my sister. I'll repeat from verse 2. And Abraham said of his wife Sarah, she's my sister. Then Abimelek, king of Gerar, sent Sarah and took her. But God came to Abimelek in a dream one night and said to him, you are as good as dead because of the woman you have taken. She is a married woman. Verse 4 records, now Abimelek had not gone near her. So he said, Lord, will you destroy an innocent nation? Did he not say to me, she is my sister? And didn't she also say, he is my brother? I have done this with a clear conscience and clean hands. Then God said to him in a dream, yes, I know you did this with clean conscience. And so I have kept all this the sinning against you. That is why I did not let you touch her. Now return the man's wife, for he is a prophet, and he will pray for you, and you will live. But if you do not return her, you may be sure that you and all who belong to you will die. Verse 8 says, early next morning Abimelek summoned all his officials, and when he told them all that had happened, they were very much afraid. Then Abimelek called Abraham and said, what have you done to us? How have I wronged you that you have brought such a great guilt upon me and my kingdom? You have done things to me that should never be done. And Abimelek asked Abraham, what was your reason for doing this? Verse 11 records, Abraham replied, I said to myself, there is surely no fear of God in this place, and they will kill me because of my wife. Besides, she's really my sister, the daughter of my father, though not my mother, and she became my wife. And when God caused me to wander from my father's household, I said to her, this is how you can show your love to me. Everywhere we go, say to me, he is my brother. Then Abimelek brought sheep and cattle, male and female slaves, and gave them to Abraham, and he returned Sarah his wife to him. And Abimelek said, my land before you, my land is before you, live whenever you like. To Sarah he said, I am giving your brother 1,000 shekels of silver. This is to cover the offense against you before all who are with you. You are completely vindicated. Verse 17 records, then Abraham prayed to God, and God healed Abimelek, his wife, his female slaves, so that they could have children again. For the Lord had kept all the women in the Abimelek's household from conceiving because of Abraham's wife, Sarah. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very beautiful and exciting chapter. And looking at how, of course, again, seeing at how men are sorting actually out God's plan, trying to bring plan B's, that, you know, because of this we need to look for something that can work here. And Abimelek, of course, looks at this woman, and I've been wondering, well, at this time actually Sarah is 90 years and she's still beautiful. I'm wondering when she was 19 or 20 or that is how she looked like. Some of you are 40, but you know, you cannot add up to this 90-year-old woman. Some of you are 22, but you cannot think of it. Maybe those days there were no makeups. This woman must have been very beautiful. You know, mko 21 lakini mtu hawezi kaa bila makeup. And the problem is not that you are not beautiful, but I think because you have not accepted yourself, because everything that God had made, actually it was good and it was beautiful. And anyway, let's not go into that direction. But I'm trying to say, you know, this woman should have been very beautiful at the age of 90, and at this time bado wanaume wanatry kumtafuta. This meant this woman was very beautiful. And Abimelek looks at her and says, you know, this might be so good for myself, so let me pick her and bring her close to me. But before actually he had done anything, God says, Wewe, you are as good as a dead man. Whatever you are touching is another man's woman. She's married. And Abimelek says, you know, from a clean conscience and clean hands, I picked this woman. The guy said that the woman was the sister, so I did not take her away from him. But actually God says, that is why I have kept you not from sinning. So you have to return her back, and he will pray for you, for he is a prophet. And Abimelek, of course, calls his officials the following day, says, whatever has happened, those guys actually are afraid rather at whatever is happening. And from there, of course, calls Abraham and asks him, so why have you done this thing to me? Abraham says, you know, I knew this place, there was no fear of God. And I knew that you people will kill me when you know that this is my wife. But this is what happens actually. It is true that actually, because Abraham keeps on explaining that Sarah was the sister, because they shared the same father but not the same mother. And he said, I have done this, we agreed on this from the day when I was brought from my father's land, and this was the only way to show me that she loves me, so she will always keep telling people that I'm the brother instead of I am the husband. But look at this beautiful thing. Even after Abraham deciding to keep or to say that Sarah is the sister, God still kept Sarah for Abraham. And I was thinking of it in terms of this. Sometimes I think God brings us into certain situations to see if we will be able to let him actually have control of our lives. There are things that at some point we will not be able to control. There are battles maybe we are not called for. And I don't think actually we are supposed to be fighting, because it is him who fights for us. And I was thinking of it in my mind as I was reading this beautiful scripture, that God has called us actually into his ministry and is able to keep us, protecting everything that is ours. Because remember, there is nothing that we have that belongs to us. Everything that we have belongs to him. And actually he is able to keep all those things actually for us. Look at this. Abimelek would have actually taken Sarah and maybe done whatever he wanted to do with her. But God decided, this will not happen. I will have to keep this woman for Abraham because he is my servant. And God is able actually to keep for us those things that we think we need. And think of it. if he was able to keep a wife for Abraham, what is that small thing that you've been thinking of? Is it school fees? Is it anything that you've been thinking of that you're trying to preserve it for yourself? Imagine it is time to let God actually have it, and he will take good care of them. And see how Sarah returns to Abraham. Does not return actually empty-handed, because when Abimelek notices that this guy is a prophet, he comes back with some goodies. He brings sheep, cattle, male and female slaves, and gives them to Abraham. And on top of it, he gives out actually 100 shekels of silver. Like, the return or the repayment of God is always in good folds, maybe 100 or 1,000 folds. And look at this actually. It is after him bringing these things when Abraham prays for him, because the condition that God gave this king was, after you have returned this woman, then this guy will pray for you. And when actually, Abraham prayed for him, then God healed his wives and his female slaves, and for God had actually kept them away from conceiving, because he had picked Abraham's wife. Now, my people, I'm challenging you tonight that may he actually be able to show you this truth around his word, that he is able to fight for us. Sometimes we have been engaging ourselves into battles that we will always lose, because we are fighting actually carnally. But him, when he comes into our lives, he is able to fight for us and at the same time reward us. After fighting for us, he is even able to reward us and make us victorious. And Abraham is given the liberty and told, this is my land before you. Choose where you want to live. And actually from this chapter onwards, you'll see actually Abraham having a good relation with this king called Abimelek, for God fought for him. May God help us that we will allow him and give him the opportunity to fight for us in whatever he has called us into. May we not actually engage ourselves into so much in life that we may forget that he is able to work into our lives. He is able to fight for us, because every time we do his work into the way that he has called us, then he is able to fight for us and is able to do things exceedingly and above what we can think of. May he help us, may he bless us, may he keep us, and may he keep on reaffirming this truth in our hearts. May the Lord be with you. Shalom.